you join us on another edition of Art House. I'm Melinda Akinlami. It's the first one for the month of June, so we're grateful for love, light, and color. We'll see some on today's program with a season of really instructive solo exhibitions. From art scholars in Lagos, moving boundaries, and preaching about safety on the roads. We'll give you details in a moment. Do stay with us.
The head will never be the tail.
We have a couple of solo exhibitions on our lineup today. Let's begin with this one called Beyond the Veil by artist and scholar Dr. Kunle Adeyemi in Lagos.
The beauty of storytelling comes to the fore in this exhibition by Dr. Kunle Adeyemi titled Beyond the Veil, which features his paintings and printmaking at this space in Lagos with intense messages from the artist.
The works here are very rich, and that is Dr. Kunle Adeyemi for you. You can see paintings, you can see metal foil. Metal foil is not very common, and not a lot of them, I mean veterans that are engaged in this. You can see that around the room. You can also see series like Dialogue with Nature. You can see underwater series, and so on and so forth. So there's quite a lot to boost your imagination beyond the veil.
When you look at the new works he's displaying today, they are a little bit different from the ones I have known. And looking at going with underwater, talking about underwater, what is happening under the sea. That's another way to express what Lagos is. Lagos is a water state, and so I think Adeyemi has done another beautiful thing here.
The exhibition is a figure of speech that directly compares two unlike things by stating that one thing is another.
Behind the veil is something that I surreptitiously think within my subconscious, that there are so many things that is happening, in the physical, but behind that, there's a lot more. For instance, putting this exhibition right now, people have been able to see and all that, but I know the time that it took me, I know the energy that it took me, I know the resources that I've poured in, both human, material, and what have you. So we need to work behind, the main thing, so that at the end of the day, you can actually record the success. Now, behind the veil is actually a metaphor. I'm actually saying, look, if we want to make Nigeria a success, all of us must actually put our feet down and work hard, so that at the end of the day, we'll begin to see successes recorded for this country.
Dr. Kunle Adeyemi is a senior and a mentor in the art industry. He's a man of many parts. He's a man who has made a lot of other people, and he's been able to implant his feet on the sands of time. And like he said when he was talking, he's a disciple of the great Bruce Onobrakweya. He's a man whose work is deeply rooted in African culture. And from what we see around there, the theme of his work is centered around his experience in life, his growing up, his experiences while he was in the classroom, the things that he sees around.
For the curatorial team, the idea is to bring art closer to the people as they savor taste buds and pamper sights through the array of richness on parade.
So today, we're giving our audience as well as our buyers the opportunity to experience dining while looking through the paintworks and paintings of Dr. Kule Adeyemi. So it's a new kind of adventure that we dived into, and we can see that people are loving it, and we also are loving it.
In Dr. Adeyemi's capacity as an art teacher, art patrons who grace the exhibition harp on the importance of harnessing the many young talents in the country.
This is another Nigerian, talented Nigeria, that is showcasing his brain behind art. These are the things that we need to encourage in this country. I moved around and I could see what someone sat down and decided to do, the mystery behind it. And I always tell people that when you look at a typical art exhibition, or when you look at any artwork, you won't know the kind of work that has gone behind. And when they say, oh, this is expensive, no, it's not. We need to encourage our talented people. And this is one of them, Dr. Kule Adeyemi, who has actually lectured so many students. He has impacted the knowledge in them. And at the same time, he's now showcasing his knowledge. So there is need for us to encourage him.
This work is practically, for me, because this is my first time of seeing it, it's different. Different in the sense that you see abstract expression, but the expression was very titled, and he titled his works Behind the Veils. You have to look critically at the work to be able to understand and enjoy it. For me, I look at works like these as works that are very mature. These are works that you can view whichever way you like.
Dr. Kule Adeyemi's work is not new to me, because he happens to be my teacher. We work together. He's a colleague, he's a friend, and he's a master. And his style is unique. When I was working with him, I tried to even learn this style. But when you look at the style, his paintings, they all look very simple, but it requires a lot of thinking, depth. If you are not upstairs creative-wise, you can't get there. At least I've been with him since 89. We've been working together 89, 90, 90, up to date. You understand? And because I could not, I tried to learn his style, but it's in a way, it's simple, but it's tough. It's tough. And that is why you could not see people copying that same style around.
We need to imbibe more the culture of rests, visiting art exhibitions, recreation centers, after the hard day's work. We need to begin to encourage the local artists. I've always said it over and over again, art is first local. It is what I do from this end that I transfer into other areas, into people. And it is what I do from here that the global community will take from me. So it's important for everyone to know that we need to encourage the artists. We need to really, really give them the backing. Okay, the government, minus or plus, the government is trying, but people who are knowledgeable in this area must be put in the right position to drive the culture industry.
Since Dr. Adeyemi has more time on his hands and space for studio practice, many art enthusiasts will be looking to see more exciting pieces, techniques, and thought-provoking messages from him.
In another part of the commercial city, this artist has been an advocate for road safety for the longest time and is enlightening the public yet again with this solo show.
The Gods of Safety, a solo exhibition by contemporary multimedia artist Seidoa Ehimia, popularly known as Mr. Danfo, who has been on this path for many years now, enlightening the young and old on how to be safety conscious on the roads.
My work has majorly been about my environment, about Lagos, about now different cities and how I interact with all these different spaces, and how somehow our lives can't exist without the public space. So, and we interact with these spaces every time, and we need to get to do whatever we have to do, sharing spaces with people. And so my work about public safety or about direction or signage is sort of a means of showing how much I observe the environment and how much I feel there is more need for awareness on safety or a more inclusive public signage system.
For this exhibition, he creates a world where signs and symbols are put in indigenous language and engaging forms for the man on the streets to easily grasp the message.
The gods of safety pieces that are reflecting they look like traditional sculptures, which you can't actually pin to any specific traditional tribe, but very local to what you can get from around the Yoruba culture here in Nigeria. So it's just like a juxtaposition of like different things that could communicate, because the sculptures on their own alone could make a sense of communication if they were put in specific places, but having an instruction on them sort of adds a layer to that communication. So I feel if you want to attract, you have to make whatever you want to attract people to enticing enough. So I want to attract people to think about signalization. I have to make it look a way that will make it maybe like a shock. But the most important thing is that I want people to pause and think about safety. I want them to pause and think about signalization. So it's actually the best way to communicate, by adding the sculptures to it. So that is why, and we are aware of like the gods and all of, we used to have like so many kind of gods. So if we were to like categorize these works, they will fit into different categories of gods, because back in the days we have god of this, god of that, god of that. But now I'm making a god of safety, but like gods of safety.
His unique pieces, which are inspired by the streets of Lagos, resonate with the viewers.
One of the things that really struck me is how do you provide information and advocacy about a critical issue area, which is safety, security, particularly on our roads, but using languages in a form that people understand, it's context relevant and still passes the message across. So yes, a lot of people speak English, but you know, there's the colloquial application to warnings, to signs, to information. And so when you see something that says afisuru, you know, that just says, oh, you know, or something that says, oh, stay in your own lane. It's different from just saying be patient, because you know, people translate language and information usually in their own local languages. So I thought it was very inspiring and powerful, and I think it's a lot of lessons for our local traffic agencies to be able to apply on how do you send messages in a way that people can understand and then act on what you want them to.
He's someone that's like very brilliant, that's one, but he's also very down to earth in how he's concerned with like relatable themes and things that are grounded in reality. So that's like one of the high points of working with him. I think like this exhibition is very important because it speaks to something that we can relate to. You look at the signs and you see how relatable they are. 419 Avenue, Iyana Oja, Iyana Olokpa. So these things are what like thread through the exhibition and make it very interesting.
The exhibition, which took about a year for the artist to put together, connects the dots between safety signs and the supernatural world, which provide protection and direction.
You know what they say, it's better to be safe than sorry. Let's take a moment now. Art House returns with more. Do stay with us. Our last feature is yet another solo exhibition, but this time is by Professor Victor Ekoma at the National Museum in Lagos.
This is a retrospective exhibition of paintings and drawings by the renowned Professor of Fine and Applied Arts in the University of Calabar, Cross River State, who has come to the National Museum Lagos to unveil his collection, which shows his different perspectives and specializations.
I'm a painter, essentially, and an art historian and an anthropologist at the same time, combined. So from that perspective, I am into art fully as an art scholar and a creative artist. And the works you have seen on the exhibition represent my works over the years. This is a retrospective exhibition showing my paintings, my drawings, and sketches, as well as the works I did, etchings I did while on a residency at the University of London.
His versatile mixed media style, which entails using twin techniques on canvas surfaces, is displayed in the over 20 pieces which explores humanity amongst other issues.
You see so many subject matter running across my works. I'm very concerned about the human condition, the social circumstances we find ourselves, the issues of good governance, the issues of public safety, the issues of climate change, and the issues of peaceful coexistence. I think that's essentially is what the thrust of my works are, the expression of the human condition, the circumstances we find ourselves. The boundaries is the peculiarity of my style. I use twine to express myself. You see, the twine is an ordinary material you can find in everyday uses, but I have elevated it to the point that it can be appreciated as something that has beauty. I'm bringing out the aesthetic element of it. And this is a special peculiarity to me that other younger artists are beginning to copy. And I think that's a major impact and contribution to art, the technique, which I think is largely, represents my style, but not, I haven't seen anyone exploring this medium as a means of expression. So that's the uniqueness of my work. And of course, it's one of the critical factors for any artist to have a signature style for which you can be known for.
It takes time to explain some of the images in twinning the boundaries and the stories behind them.
You know what Chinua Achebe represents in African civilization? He has told the story of the black man, the story of the African existence before European invasion. And that has been globally celebrated, particularly nations that have had the experience of colonialism. And so the work there represents Chinua Achebe's portraits infused into an eagle, and the eagle on top of an iroko tree. And Achebe is metaphorically known as the eagle in his Igbo tradition by the title given to him, Eagle on Iroko, Ugo Belu Noji, which represents the fact that his achievements have gone beyond normal expectations, because the eagle is the largest bird in the forest, and Iroko is the tallest and the biggest tree in the forest. So the eagle that perched on the Iroko tree essentially has gone beyond the range of the then gone. The hunter can never get at it. And that is a transfer of what Achebe's achievement stands for.
If you look at the work critically, for me, it's divided into two parts. first part in the main entrance, it has to do with colors, where the artists used probably acrylic color and ropes, to tie up the whole thing. But on the second side here, you have where he used pen and ink, This pen and ink is reminiscence of the uli art, where the uli is used is most of graduates from the uli school, they use, they bond their materials, and they also use, if you look at it critically, for example, this work that is here, you look at it as if it's so much bond. He used the pen and ink here and something that looks like ecoline, to buttress it, and the marks are very expressive of the uli art. This is what you see, reminiscence of uli, and you see it around all the works here on this section of the gallery. But on the other section of the gallery, the messages there are very clear, where he interpreted most of the things that he did. For example, he talked about the refugees in one of the works I saw there, and he talked about human dancing in one of the works. These are messages that he conveyed in all his works that you see over there. But this one is just expression of the uli art.
Professor Ekoma studied art, African art, and anthropology from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka in Enugu State, University of Ibadan in Oyo State, and University of Uyo in Akwa Ibom State.
For the last 14 months, we've been working tirelessly on fundraising, partnerships, event programming, and we are just so excited that it's less than 8 weeks to go before we're able to share this national pavilion with the world. We're doing a focus on Ledger, which is the oldest iron ore smelting site in the world and really should be a World Heritage Site. But this is part of the process, and we're so excited to have the right stakeholders on board, turning this vision into a reality. We have the most talented designer curating the pavilion, Miles Igwebuke. This is a pavilion that will do every Nigerian proud. We explore Nigerian identity in a way that hasn't been done before, and we present to the world the largest African pavilion that's participated as a national country pavilion since the Biennale started. There's more to see and enjoy, but that'll be on the next episode of Art House.
On Art House next week. Mining Abstractions, a group exhibition at Co Gallery, Lagos. Nigeria Alternative Heritage Exhibition at the National Museum, Lagos. Then we enjoy the National Troops performance for unity across West Africa during the ECOWAS at 50 celebration. More people need to enjoy the ingenious in the Nigerian art scene, so do share, view and like our page for everyone to experience these bundle of talents.
Your Art House experience doesn't have to end when the show is not on television. Interact with us on our various social media platforms. See any edition of Art House on our website or YouTube page. Join our very interactive Facebook page by joining the group on Art House on Channels. We're everywhere.
That's how we draw the curtain on this week's episode of the program. But the conversation continues online. Just check out our various social media platforms. And remember, you can see this and other episodes of the program right there as well. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Enjoy the month of June.